Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the channel. So my name is Victor, and I'm going to be your anchor for this training. So this is the cyber threat management training. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you're existing subscriber, welcome back. So this channel, we talk about tech, we talk about cybersecurity, project management, web programming, data analytics, and quite a lot about tech and about business. Okay, so in this course, it's going to be in a companion to a digital forensic course. So you can check out the website, southtechventures.com, to see some of the things we're doing. So this is going to be a course sponsored by Kalakachi Technology Limited and as well Southtech. So it's going to be quite an awesome period. We're going to be learning some things in governance and compliance. We're also going to be learning about network security testing, then threat intelligence. We're going to be looking at quite some things in threat intelligence. And also we're going to be looking at some tools we can use to do threat intelligence, some case studies. There are quite about, roughly about 20, 30 labs, hands-on, we're going to be doing in this course. So we're also going to have endpoint vulnerability assessment. So if you're new to cybersecurity, if cybersecurity is new to you, if it's something you're just trying to get started with, on the channel, you have a complete series on Cybersecurity Essentials. So it's a foundational cybersecurity training that you want to run through before you start learning about cyber threat management. Because in this course also, we're going to be looking at digital forensics. Also, we're going to be looking at risks management, security controls. You're going to be learning how to create information security policy documents. Then lastly, we're going to be considering digital forensics, how to do digital forensics, some hands-on. I'm also going to be looking at incident response, incident analysis, creating an incident response team, and all of that. Okay, before we move on, I'm going to showcase in this very first part some of the labs that we're going to be working on. So we have roughly about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. About 30 labs that we're going to be working on in this cybersecurity, digital forensics, cyber threat management course. So the labs are going to cover attack analysis. So if you see one of the labs, if I open each of them, just a few of them, right? So I'm going to share a link to a virtual machine, a Linux box that you're going to be using to run some of these labs, right? So let me just explain, give you an overview of some of the labs we're going to be working on. So our personal code of conduct, because if you're going to do threat management, if you're going to do digital forensics, some of these things are going to be interwoven with some tax that is going to be needed for either a SOC analyst or a penetration tester, right? So there is need for some kind of code of ethics. There's need for some kind of conduct. So this is what it looks like. So in this particular lab, investigate IOC, that is indicators of compromise. How do you investigate a malicious activity? Then you see we're going to be using the Mitra attack matrix. Then we're also going to be using the platform AnyRun, right? So AnyRun is a website that you can use to check if there is indicator of compromise. So the objectives are well stated. The step-by-step guideline on how to run each of the lab is well documented, right? And you can actually check up to see what the answer might be for each of them, right? Now you see the second lab, personal code of ethical conduct. Now you see for each of the lab, there's going to be normally a background, an explanation why each of the lab, why you are doing each of the lab, and what kind of what are you going to learn at the end of the lab, and the resources that you require for each of the lab. Like this lab, you just need the PC or mobile phone and internet, right? For this particular lab, you want to evaluate vulnerabilities. So here you want to learn how to create a vulnerability assessment report, because it's one thing to have to conduct a vulnerability assessment. Then there's another thing to be able to present that report to your client, right? So your client is going to need a report of what are the susceptibilities, what are the likelihood of occurrence of some kind of attacks. So because normally a vulnerability assessment is what is a precursor to a penetration testing. So we're going to lay some of the groundwork for some of these labs on how you can conduct them. Here, this lab is about incident handling. So most of the times when something happens, how do you go about handling such kind of incidents? In this lab, remediating disaster, how do you come out from a disaster when a disaster happens? In this lab, you're going to be learning risks analysis, risks calculations, both quantitative and qualitative risk analysis for some different case studies, right? Okay, here in this lab, you're going to be learning how to use Wireshark to like actually compare Telnet and SSH traffic. So Telnet is a plain text protocol. SSH is like an encrypted protocol. So you're going to learn how to use Wireshark, and you're going to use a particular virtual box that I'm going to provide for you. And you're going to like run the Wireshark, enter the password, try running some traffic, start analyzing them, understand how to investigate different traffics for plain text and also encrypted protocols. So this is some of the samples of some of the labs. So you have some also that have to do with Pest Studio. So Pest Studio is a software that you could use to do digital forensics. You could do malware analysis for different malwares. So for some of these case studies, we're going to pick some sample malwares. We're going to drop it on the software Pest Studio, and it's going to analyze and tell us these malwares. At times it can tell us their origin. We can also cross-check that with some CVEs, common vulnerabilities and exploits, right? So we're also going to be using Multigo. So Multigo is a tool you can have installed on your desktop, or you also have it on Linux. Then of course, FTK Manager, Sukuri, password safe investigation. We're going to do some capstone projects. You're going to learn how to use some OSINT framework. We're going to learn how to use Autopsy. Then of course, we're going to be using Packet Tracer. We're going to be using Packet Tracer to do some investigation of data disaster or doing disaster recovery. So these are some of the labs we're going to be working on in this course. Okay, so like I said, the first module is going to be governance and compliance, because one of the very first thing, this connects very well with module 5. One of the first things you want to do for an organization when you want to consult, or when you come into an organization, or if you're part of a team for an enterprise, is you have an information security policy. So we're going to go through how to create that, what's the step-by-step process, and we're going to evaluate some standard policies and documents, and also how can we create one for our enterprise. Okay. So one question is, why cyber threat management, right? So because there's an increase in cyber threats, because we need to develop some kind of advanced knowledge in our workplace, we need to also explore governance. Governance has to do with, well, how do we do this? How do we do this? How do we pilot this affair? How, when there's an incident, what do we do? How do we develop information security policy to ensure that, that an organization is very secure? So how do we do that, right? So what kind of skills do we need to actually assess our network for vulnerabilities? How do we manage risks? And how do we respond to incident response? So of course, for this program, there's going to be a certification at the end of the day. And of course, this training is going to come with some hands-on, with some practicals and some incident response tools and case studies. Okay, so in the next part, I'm going to be looking at governance and compliance. So thank you very much, and see you in the next section.